Hey, so um, here we are discussing decision making and organizational behavior. We're going to cover both individual and team decision making and how effective decision making is crucial for org success, right? So moving on to the introduction to decision making, right? Is the process of making choices by identifying a decision, gathering information, and assessing alternatives, right? Um, it's a fundamental aspect of organizational behavior, right? And decisions can be programmed, right? So routine or non-programmed, which mean complex, right? And effective decision making can lead to better problem solving, innovation, and organizational success, right? Um, Moving on to individual decision making. Um, the optimizing model involves identifying the problem, decision criteria, and evaluating alternatives. It aims for the best possible outcome by considering all available information, and the steps include identifying the problem, establishing criteria, weighing criteria, generating alternatives, evaluating alternatives, and then selecting the best alternative. Um, the optimizing model assumes rationality and comprehensive analysis, but may not always be feasible due to time constraints, and it's limited in information. But understanding the model helps in making informed and logical decisions. So moving on to uh, the satisficing model, right? Satisficing includes um, it involves choosing an option that meets the minimum criteria, right? So the bare minimum, basically, right? It's used when time or information is limited, um, and just good enough of a solution is acceptable, right? Steps in the satisficing um, model. Um, it includes identifying the problem, simplifying the problem, setting satisficing criteria, identifying limited alternatives, comparing alternatives, and selecting the first good enough choice, right? This model acknowledges bounded rationality, um, where individuals make decisions based on limited information and cognitive limitations, right? And understanding satisficing helps in making practical and timely decisions, right? So just this model is basically, like I said before, good enough models when you don't have a lot of time to make a decision, or maybe not a lot of people around you to help you make the best decision. So you just take what you can get, right? So here are biases in individual decision making. Common biases are confirmation bias, which is just favoring information that confirms like preconceptions, right? Overconfidence bias is like just overestimating one's abilities, and anchoring bias, right? Relying too heavily on the first piece of information, right? Um, and other biases are availability bias, right? So that's basing decisions on readily available information, and escalation of commitment, which is continuing to invest in a failing project. Um, and then strategies to overcome biases include seeking diverse perspectives, considering alternative viewpoints, and being aware of your cognitive limitations. And then recognizing and addressing these, it can lead to better decision making outcomes, right? So, group decision making, can lead to um, better outcomes through diverse perspectives and shared knowledge. as spoken in the previous presentations, techniques like brainstorming, which encourages the free flow of ideas without criticism, fostering creativity, nominal group technique, which involves individual idea generation, followed by group discussion and ranking, ensuring everyone's input is considered. And then the Delphi technique, Delphi maybe technique, gathers input from experts through multiple rounds of questionnaires with feedback provided after each round, right? And the advantage of group decision making includes increased buy-in, right, and diverse perspectives, while disadvantages are potential for groupthink and longer decision making times, right? So just basically like group decision making, you make everybody feel involved, so people are buying in, right, because they feel like their opinion matters, and it includes different perspectives, right? There's people from different walks of life who've been in different positions at different companies, right? So maybe just inviting for different just thoughts, ideas. And disadvantages, like said before, groupthink, everybody thinking on one accord without any kind of like real like leadership, just everybody on the same accord thinking the same thing, allowing for maybe not the best of work, but whatever they have right in front of them. And then just longer decision making times, because allowing everybody to voice their opinion and you know um, make a decision together, it just makes it longer, right? Which is it's not a bad thing unless y'all had a impasse where you guys just aren't agreeing on moving forward, right? Moving on to groupthink. So back on groupthink, we discussed about this in the last slide or the last presentation. Um, but yeah, basically, it can occur in group decision making, leading to poor outcomes. Self-censorship, illusion of unanimity, and the pressure to confirm. Encouraging dialogue and critical thinking can prevent groupthink. And leaders should always create an open environment where different views are valued. Uh, Playing devil advocate and recognizing the signs of groupthink early can help, take the corrective actions to ensure better decision making. All discussed before. So moving on to decision making in teams, right? So teams often use consensus or majority rule to make decisions. And consensus involves all team members agreeing on a decision, while the majority rule involves a vote where the majority wins, right? Um, Leadership plays a crucial role in guiding the decision-making process and ensuring that everybody's voice is heard. Um, Effective team decision-making involves clear communication, defined roles, and structured methods. Um, And the team should establish decision-making processes that balance speed and thoroughness, ensuring that decisions are both timely and well-informed. Moving on to enhanced decision-making, right? So the techniques to improve decision-making include encouraging diversity of thought, establishing clear decision criteria, and providing training on decision making skills, right? So, utilizing technology like decision supporting systems, it can enhance information and gathering analysis. Encouraging a culture of continuous learning and feedback can help individuals and teams refine their decision making process. And then creating an environment where experimentation and learning from failures are valued, it can lead to more innovative and effective decision making. All right. And leaders should support and empower their team to make take ownership of decisions, and it just makes people more responsible, right? And holds them accountable. And just basically like going over the key concepts within decision making. It's essential for organizational success, right? And understanding it can lead to better problem solving, um, innovation, and overall performance. Thank you.